Here we
Here
go.
we
Look
go.
at you, all cute. Hey,
You
look at you,
TV,
all
dear.
cute.
Darling, how are you this evening?
Oh, listen, I'm great, grateful, blessed, excited, and grateful to be amongst the living. What about you?
Very happy that today is Thursday.
Amen. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, happy to be among the living as well.
Happy to be among the living. Um,
And
tonight,
safe. I mean, first, before we get into the conversation, I want to make sure that we are, sending good thoughts and prayers for safety for those folks who are currently being attacked by Ian.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and we are bracing ourselves for Ian. But we are mindful and prayerful that we will be very good, and this too shall pass.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Keep my folks safe.
Keep my folks safe. So tonight, we're talking about, can they change, or do we just need to let it go?
Let it go.
Just,
Let it go.
you know, I think we have all been at this crossroads before.
At some point in our lives, absolutely.
Will they change, or do we just, oh, yes.
Hi, Denise.
Oh,
Hi, Denise.
Denise. First off, sis, I need you to join this conversation.
Oh,
You
yeah.
might appreciate this conversation. The conversation, again, let me say it just for you so you can join us. Send a text, in the chat. Do we stay? When do we stay? And when do we just let it go?
Yeah. Are they going to change? Can they change? When do they change?
When
Right?
do they change? Hey, is absolutely
Yeah.
right. Will they change? When is it a return on investment?
Yeah. And how do you calculate that? And I think it's also a personal decision. How much can
Always.
you take?
How much can you take? And as accountability partners, we often talk about who surrounds us, who's in our circle, who do we allow in our circle, what that means, what that look like, what do they contribute, right? And so tonight we'll talk about the 4 reasons why people change. Now, so I'm going to ask you, tell me the time when you've been there, when you had to say to yourself, do I keep this person? Do I think this person can change? And maybe they've changed and it was well worth, right? Or do you let them go?
A time when I've had to make the decision?
Yes.
I actually started thinking about when I was on the other side of it, right? When I needed to make a change.
Okay.
Because we've often talked about, because I was thinking about how this related to a previous conversation, right? Fix them or change me, right?
Is it easier to fix them or change
Yeah.
you?
And so, I can't think of a specific situation, but I do often look at what is happening in my life as a mirror. Is there
Yeah.
something that God is trying to teach me in this situation?
You're really good about that. You're really good about that.
From an
I don't know that I'm as
accountability
good. Go
standpoint,
ahead.
from an accountability standpoint, do I stand still, take the lesson, look in the mirror, like what's being reflected, or is it from an accountability standpoint, remind me of the good or the bad, right? To be like, hey, bruh, go ahead and let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, and it's in all kinds of relationships, right? As we grow, as we mature, we experience different things, right? And so, okay, so Denise says only when they believe the change will put them in a better place. Amen. Okay, we're gonna get into that, right? We will definitely get into that. For myself, not having accountability partner is dangerous.
It really is.
You better
say that
it
again for the people in the back that didn't
Come
hear.
on, you better say it.
I just thought of a situation. I do have a friend who I care about deeply, but every single time I talk to them, it was always something negative.
Yeah.
Or somebody died, or woe is me, and it's never going to be this, never going to be that. And that was just not energy that I could keep in my space. And so,
Right.
are they going to change at this age and this stage? Probably not for me.
Yeah, not fast enough for you.
or in the type of relationship that we had. And so yeah, for me, that was one that I just had to let go and just watch from Facebook, right?
You
What about you? You have an example?
Yeah, I mean, listen, inevitably with boyfriends have passed, but I'll talk about another type of relationship, a girlfriend, and it was a very challenging. I think we were both maturing, both finding ourselves as adults, and at a certain point, we kind of come face to face with who we are and who we want to be, and we had to separate for a while, quite
Yeah.
frankly, right? Because we could not do it. I mean, I certainly couldn't do it while she was going through growing the way she wanted to, and and becoming
Yep.
the woman she wanted.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't be that close, as close as I had been. So I had to fall back, and it was a gamble, but we are absolutely beautiful today. And
Yes.
so for that, there are different reactions, responses, and approaches depending on the person and the situation and the age.
For sure.
Because let me be very clear. My grandmother died, I think she passed away somewhere around 85, 86. I'm not expecting her to change.
There's no change happening.
There's
Right.
there's no change happening.
Mhm.
So it was either, this is who she is, get with it, right? But again, let's talk about the four reasons
People change.
that people change. Okay, the first cause,
It's intentional,
intentional.
which is how I like to be in my life, right?
I would say so.
I appreciate the accountability relationship because it does force intention in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
And the one example that we've used often with me, I wanted to show up as more loving.
Yes. Yes.
And I had to be very intentional about that. And so it was a change
Yeah.
that I wanted to make, and I was very intentional about making that change. So
Right.
don't throw me out with the bathwater if I wasn't being so loving, right? Because I changed, and it was just something that I wanted. It was nothing else or anyone around me that was forcing that.
Yeah.
It was how I wanted to show up in the world, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And an intentional change, I think whenever we're looking at a relationship, right? Again, no matter what type of relationship it is, we have to say, is the person willing to make a change? Are they willing to make the same investment that you are? Because there are some people who might say, I don't really need to change.
Right.
And that's okay, because we've been in those situations too. And at that point, you have to make a decision for yourself. And we've got watchers joining in. I want you all to, if you can, jump in the comments. When have you had to make a change? Or when did you have to walk away from someone who wasn't willing to make a change? It's absolutely, but the first thing is intentional. And I think part of that is the person aware, or
Mhm.
are they even interested in making a change? Because if they not, it ain't, listen, it ain't gonna change.
It's not.
It's
Denise
not. I
said,
mean,
"Only when they believe it puts them in a better place."
come on, come on. All right. So cause number two, natural reasons.
This is the age you talked about. We are naturally going to change. I'm not the same person I was at 20. I'm not the same person I was at 30. I'm going to stop at 30. Probably going to stay around 30 for a long time. But no, it's inevitable.
Right,
Hopefully.
right. You mature.
You do.
Life should change you. We should evolve. We should grow. So we can expect that to happen. So fair enough, to your point. If there was somebody I was cool with or I wasn't cool with at 15, we might become the best of friends at 30, because we have naturally matured and we've seen some different things, and we have come across, and the things that were important then are just don't have the same value, and other things have more value.
Listen, I had dinner with a colleague at home. I'll call her colleague because friend is a word that we use very loosely. We
Okay.
weren't friends. And she said to me that we weren't friends because there was somebody else that didn't like me. And this somebody else was her best friend. And that's why we were never friends. And she was like, but I didn't even know you. And now it's like we're adults now. We can have a conversation, and she realizes that I'm a good person.
You're
I'm
a
a
pretty cool
likable
person.
type of person, you
You're
know?
a pretty cool person, and let me just say, it was her loss for not having you in her life.
And I was none the wiser back then. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it. But maturity has caused us at this age to be able to sit across the dinner table and have a conversation about it and be like, "Oh, too bad. We're here we are now. How you doing? How
Yeah.
you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, I think as we mature, again, as we mature, we get older. Some of the things that we value so high is of great importance.
Right.
Not that important. It's
Mhm.
really, it ain't that deep. And as I get older, I'm like, I love me more and more. And I like who I am.
I like mature
And
Tasha.
huh?
I like mature Tasha.
Exactly. And so it's like, if you want to join this train, please join. I'm here for the good time. However, if you're
Comma.
here for the listen, I don't value the same things I used to in the same way. I just don't. I really don't. But so natural growth, again, so we're looking at our relationships and we're looking at what we value. Is the person growing? Because some people who choose to stay in the same place, it ain't about that life.
Love you too, Denise.
Hi,
Hey,
Kim.
girl.
How are you? All right, let's get into the
Number
third
3.
reason why people change. Life-changing events. Amen to that.
What was your life-changing event?
I would say most recently, the passing of my dear beloved stepfather, my old man. I
Yeah.
love him, and I miss him, and I talk to him all the time, as well as the passing of my grandmother. And what that is very innately showing me is that you just never know how much time you have. And there's gonna come a time. Now, granted, I still believe they're around me, and I talk to them, and I say good morning to them all the time, and I kiss their pictures. But there's gonna come a time where there is someone in my life today that I love that I cannot speak to.
Yeah.
And I don't take that for granted. And so I want them to know that I love them. I want them to know that I care. So that has certainly changed me. I've always been someone who valued quality time. That's my love language, quality time. But it's hit me certainly a lot more. What about you?
Definitely. Yeah, Denise said divorce and empty nesting were the
Oh,
2
girl,
life-changing events
yes.
that have changed her. I'm interested to hear what that change looks like.
Yeah. And Gail, what was a life-changing event for you? That maybe kind of caused you to change.
Mm,
Oh, Kelly
moving
says
in
moving
relatives.
in relatives. Okay,
Oh,
Kelly, you got to say, was that for the better or for the worse? Because
it could go either way, right?
really, Kelly, you gotta expand on that one.
It could have revealed some things about you, or good or bad. You're right.
Good,
I'm a
good or bad?
proponent of multi-generational living, probably because I have small children right now.
I am not.
I
I am
know.
the furthest from that.
But those are all very good examples of life-changing events.
Yeah.
Obviously, things like September 11th and the pandemic. The pandemic was the most recent, probably impactful, life-changing event that has
Across
affected
the
all
board.
of us for
Across the
different
board.
reasons.
Yeah.
But I did find that 9/11 was impactful for me and life-changing. Not that I lived very haphazardly, but it was that same life's not promised to any of us. I was not personally impacted by anyone, passing away in that, but I definitely felt it. I was very engaged in the news at that time,
Hmm.
and that was life-changing for me.
So Kelly says, moving in mother-in-law gave me more patience.
Mhm.
Kelly, I feel
Mhm.
like there's a story. Kelly, I feel like there's something you want to share. Kelly, the fact that you said
Patience is a fantastic thing. Look, having children, empty nesting, and full nesting can be life-changing events, right?
absolutely right, because your life is completely different.
Oh my gosh. And my parents say that I have more patience now than I did prior to having children.
Well, you ain't got no choice.
I mean, every parent is not patient.
I don't think you got 3 kids. All
Life
right.
change.
So wait. So Denise says, in both cases, understanding myself and living a life that I design.
Mhm.
Girl, get into it. Living a life that you design. Kelly says, just that God's put people in your life for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good.
That's good. I mean, that sounds really good. But Kelly, I feel like we should talk. Like, tell us what happened, though, for real. Like,
Patience
for real,
is
Kelly.
a fantastic quality, Sharon.
It's a fantastic.
Embrace the patience and what God is teaching you in these life-changing events.
Absolutely. All right. So the fourth cause for people to change is force.
Mm.
Honey, that crossroads will do it.
What's your example of forceful change?
I, a forceful change. I think for me, maybe, and I don't know if this is a good example of forceful change. Oh, well, no. Moving to a different state, moving to a different city that I hadn't anticipated, right? I really saw myself going someplace else and doing something else.
Right.
And it forced me to get comfortable in some very uncomfortable situations. Like, I was used to being very social, very engaging, having a huge network. And I moved to an environment in the city where I knew nobody, maybe 2 people. And so it was forced and it changed my lifestyle. But today I can say,
You kind
ah,
of like it in
I'm
Charlotte.
not mad at it. And it's kind of expanded me in different ways. So it's forced me to sort of develop some muscles maybe I didn't have. And but I'm not going to listen, it wasn't easy. That first year was a difficult one. But praise be to God. Listen, we're here and we are shining in, every day.
Yeah.
What about you? What forced you?
Probably a life-changing event was my force. That's the one I can think of. But another example would be losing a job.
Yeah.
That's going to force a change, right? We just went through surplusing where I work, and I mean, even not getting let go can force a change in you because you know it could have been you,
That's
right?
right. You might really look at things
It's
that
going
are
to force
different.
you to look at things differently because you don't want to be part of the number next time, right?
That's right. But I will also say, when we're thinking, like, and so many people will look at this as intimate relationships and personal relationships. Listen, I'm a very firm believer. I'm going to tell you how I think, how I feel, and how what you do impacts me. And if it hurts me, or if it hurts my feelings, or it doesn't make me feel good, I'm going to tell you a
You're very
number
good
of
at that.
times. Huh?
You're very good at that.
I'm going to tell you another time. I'm not going to be hysterical. I'm not going to be wild. I'm not going to do all the craziness. But then there's going to come a time where I'm saying, "Oh, okay. Oh, I keep saying this, but there's no change. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, no. It's fine. I'm going to change. I'm going to shut this door, and we don't ever have to talk again. And it's okay with me." And so it's a force for me. It's a force for me to
Yeah.
say, yeah, no, because I know what my life, I know how I want to feel in my life. I want to feel good. I want to feel supported. And if I don't have that, or I have someone who is, now that I told you that your behavior is intentionally having a negative impact, baby, you got to go. And it's okay. Even though I may like you in, 80 other percent of the time. No,
And I
it's not
think
worth
it's also dependent on the relationship.
it.
In
Yes.
my maturity, there are relationships that I've engaged in where grace is necessary
Yeah.
and understanding is necessary and holding on becomes necessary,
I
right?
think in all relationships,
Yeah.
grace is necessary and understanding is necessary. Right? I don't know a relationship where those two cannot exist. But to your point, it may go a little longer and a little more space is given
Right.
depending on and how much you want the relationship to work.
Right.
Yeah. And so every relationship has a different return on investment. And you have to make a decision based on that turn. But the reality is it all impacts us. And these are all crossroads that we come to. And so for us, I think to live the best and the healthiest lives and the happiest lives that we can live, because I'm very cognizant. We don't know how long, we know neither the day nor the time.
Right.
And I want to live the best that every day God has given me.
Yeah.
Amen. Ooh,
You preaching to yourself. I hear you.
listen.
I want to share the John Maxwell quote. He said, people change when they're hurt enough that they have to, when they see enough that they're inspired to,
Yeah.
when they learn enough that they want to, and when they receive enough that they're able to.
I will say I had a mentor say to me, people only change for two reasons.
Oh, I remember you shared this with me.
And I live by it. I believe it. One, they meet Jesus.
Yes.
And two, they have a trauma in their life. And so I knew Gail, I was waiting on you. People change when it is to their advantage.
Oh,
And I would believe, and I feel that's also the second part of what I just said, when there's a trauma, right? Because it's to their advantage to get out of that trauma. It's still sort of like similarly to, yeah.
I think that's a really good underlying point. I mean, to every one of the causes we talked about, it's because it's to that person's advantage.
Yeah.
As much as we love people and care about people, we can lead the horse to the water, but the change is only going to happen when that person wants it to change.
That's right.
And it's to their advantage.
And
right?
it's different. Yeah.
A lot of
Oh,
times.
Gail says a lot of times it's temporary. Ooh, you got to watch out for those temporary ones. Those temporary changes, baby. And that's where I think my mentor was going to a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Because it's the traumatic experience that'll say, I can never go back. Right. And we've seen people, for good, bad, or indifferent, that experience, even we can see adults, something happened in their childhood. And they're like, I'll never do this again because of that experience, or that it plagues their mind. And so it has directed and redirected how they respond to things.
Yeah. So I just want to tie it back to accountability. With all these changes, Denise mentioned it. It's dangerous not to have accountability partners, right? Our accountability partners help us see our blind spots. They remind us that grace is necessary.
Yes.
They remind us of the good and the bad, because the way my memory is set up.
The way your memory is set up, it's special.
And sometimes they remind us just to stand still. But it's also important to be supported when change is necessary.
Yeah.
Or when you're waiting for change. So
yeah. And absolutely. And there's a beauty in getting older. There's many of us try to fight it, right? And so in many different ways. Hey, easy with the eye, right? Easy. However, there's a beauty, because there are some things, again, like I said, you value things differently, you perceive things differently, and you respond to things differently.
right.
And so, and growth is a beautiful thing. And so,
I believe I'm aging like fine wine.
come on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hey, mature Tasha. I like it. Seasoned. Yes, Gail.
And my mature friends, Denise being one of them. Denise and I have some amazing conversations. And I'd be like, girl, never saw it that way. Oh, Denise, that book. I still live by that book that you sent me. Just saying. Okay. Yes, Denise. Absolutely. Okay. So, as always, we want to invite you to our Set It Off Sundays. right? If you want to get your week started off, if you want to get it together so you are out here winning for the rest of the year,
Being
life don't
intentional.
stop. You can start anytime. Is today day one or day one?
Or one day. Is today just one day? Or is it day one?
You said it better than me.
There it is. Be intentional. We're here for you on Sundays. The space is created for you to get it together for the week.
It is free. Go to bit.ly/set-it-off-sun. Oh, Denise says, girl,
I need to reread it.
And yes, you need to reread it. We're long overdue. We're long overdue. So please, I want you to join us though for Set It Off Sundays. It's an excellent time where we kind of just hold each other accountable for what we're going to get done for the week. Again, go to Set It Off Sun, sign up. It's free. Tasha and I are there. Join us. We'll hold you accountable. We love it. As always, you can find us on social media, AQ Partners, AQ_partners, and BAQpartners.com. You can always find us there. And always also, if you want accountability and you want to join our class, you can take a class. You can go at your own pace. Go to Change the Game. Tasha and I will be your accountability partners. You can go at your very own pace. However, whatever you're trying to achieve, listen, we're here for you. Go to bit.ly/AQ class.
Yes. Thank you for the announcements.
Hey, right?
Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. See you guys next week. Be safe. Ian is out there. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.